Hello and welcome to a very special program we call The Big Comeback. Indeed, it is a big comeback for leading football leagues with multiple title chases at stake. And as you know, the Bundesliga is already in session. The Bavarians, Bayern Munich, could be champions again anytime soon. And in Spain, the La Liga returns this week to see through the rest of the season. Of course, the English Premier League is making a grand comeback on June 17, and then 3 days later from that, June 20, it is the Catenaccio all over again in the Serie A. More leagues are expected to return as well, shaking off weeks and months of inactivity due to the coronavirus pandemic. Welcome, my name is Juliet Bewan. Tonight, I am joined by 5 people whose professional careers are directly impacted by the wave of returns we are seeing. And in the next 30 minutes, we will be looking at the big talking points around gradual return of football. Joining me from North America, precisely the United States of America, is the team captain for MLS side Columbus Crew, Jonathan Mensah. And from Italy, we have Emmanuel Ajimambedu, who plies his trade for Hellas Verona in the Serie A. Rob Harris is in the UK, and he is the Associated Press Global Sports Lead. He will help us understand the dynamics of the comeback of the English Premier League and more. Guillermo Perez Castello is the La Liga delegate to Nigeria and Ghana. It is a busy week for him as the Spanish top tier returns. Tim Vickery knows the South American terrain better than anybody I have come across. They are still hoping to return to mainstream football, but there is every good reason to want to have a bite of South American football. It is always refreshing sight. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me here on The Big Comeback.
Absolutely brilliant. Hey, tonight.
And
thanks for having us.
Good to have you. Rob, let me start off with you. Premier League is back next week. Exciting news with caution, isn't it?
There's been so many fraught steps on the way to trying to get the league back underway. Disputes between the teams over which venues would be used. Concerns over the health and safety of players, particularly with Britain being one of the hardest hit countries in the world for the coronavirus. But in recent weeks, the opposition has melted away. The teams have managed to come together to unite to form a plan. And as anticipated now, all games are likely to be played in the stadiums of the home teams, no neutral venues. And it all starts again next Wednesday with Aston Villa against Sheffield United. And then big one, Manchester City against Arsenal, one that has a big bearing on the title race, because if Arsenal do beat City, Liverpool can then go and clinch the title on Sunday by winning at Everton, a game that we do know now will take place at Goodison Park. Of course, there will be no fans at any stadiums at all. And one of the concerns was fans congregating outside the stadium still. And certainly the messaging has been keep away to protect the actual game going ahead inside there. But the main thing now, days ahead for the players, lots more coronavirus testing to check they are all clear of COVID-19 to ensure they can play.
And I'm talking about fans not being allowed to the stadium. Ajman, you definitely miss playing football. How would it be for you playing in an empty stadium?
I think it would be very weird. We are not used to this kind of situations. We played one game against Sampdoria before the league got suspended, and it was very weird because there was nobody at the stands. You know, with the supporters, it always make the game very beautiful. And it was very weird, but this is the situation we've been in, so we just need to abide with it and just go on and play the game.
What amount of work that went into getting the league back?
Well, it's been a tremendous effort for the whole team of La Liga. Since we had to stop the competition on the 12th of March, we've been working extremely hard to be able to be back. We're very happy that tomorrow will be the big day. I think it's early for us at La Liga, but for international football, I think this is something that affected all of us. And I think it's very good news for international football that La Liga is back and that other leagues can be back soon as well.
And Tim, a lot of pressure on the league or the South American League to return, but what are the options that they are being discussed?
Well, Paraguay's a bit later. It's July the 17th that Paraguay kicks off. It's the first national league that's looking like it's going to kick off in South America.
Yeah.
Peru and Chile are looking at the 31st of July, with Uruguay looking at the 15th of August. The situation, as Manu has said, it's not ideal. No, to play with no supporters, it's a bit like dance music without a drummer. You know, you lose something fundamental. But professional football, it walks that tightrope between being culture and between being business. And the business necessity of the sport means that it has to come back before ideal conditions. The problem is, our country's going to be coming back before it's safe to come back. You have to remember, in South America, we're behind Europe. In some countries, especially Brazil, which is very worrying, it seems as if we haven't even reached the peak of the coronavirus yet in many parts of the country. Paraguay locked down very early, has had a total of 11 deaths and seems in control of the situation. So Paraguayan football, I think it's ready to return. Peru, which is due to start on the 31st of July, is more problematic. Peru has the second highest death toll in the continent after Brazil. But what they're doing there, it's the neutral venue. Bring everyone to the capital city of Lima. That reduces the amount of sanitization you have to do on the stadiums. It reduces the team's traveling costs, and it simplifies things. And that's an idea which I think will spread around South America, because the clubs are desperate to come back. You've got to remember, with that business context, you're talking about a business model in South America when many clubs were struggling to pay their wages before the shutdown. So now they're desperate to come back, and the fear is that in some countries they might come back too early.
We understand that the MLS is coming back on the July 8th. I guess you have waited too long for this.
Yeah, that's right. We've been getting ready. We've been doing the online workouts, and finally we've had the chance to go outside, train at the training facility and all that. So it's exciting time to know that we're going to start very soon.
And Adwan, you have been in Italy for so many years, and this is clearly the longest you have seen leagues being put on hold. Psychologically, how do you prepare yourself for next weekend?
When we were in isolation for like 40 days because we played Sampdoria, and unfortunately some of their players tested positive, so we needed to be isolated. It was a very, very difficult situation for us, and those who we live alone here, it was very difficult. And at that time, I don't even wanted to watch television, because you open the television, all you see is dead bodies. It was very difficult. And right now, when we started training, a lot of clubs are having a lot of injuries, because we are not used to staying at home for like 2.5 months without training and stuff like that. So gradually, for the past 21 days, I think we are getting much better now. And we need to work very hard this week, because every 3 days we have a game. We're starting the games on the 20th, and we have a game on the 23rd, 29th, 26th, and stuff like that. So we're working very hard. We know it won't be easy for the players, but the game needs to come back. The situation in Italy is gradually getting much better. The restaurants are open, the airports are open for Europeans. We've been having tests every 4 days. All the teams in Italy, every 4 days, we have COVID-19 tests. Even yesterday in the morning, we did one, and I think Saturday we'll have another one. So we finished the league. This is how the situation will be. And everyone is playing in his favorite home grounds without the supporters though. So we're getting much better. Fitness level is getting up, but we hope that after starting the league, we won't get a lot of injuries. But I doubt that, because staying at home for 2.5 months and starting training for only 3 weeks before starting the league, it will be difficult for the players. But this is the game. We love it. We've been in it. And we will go all out and make the league very perfect, as it has been always.
Interesting points there. But Rob, how much of a gamble is being placed on all of this in terms of the EPL? Will it pay off?
Well, we mentioned, will it pay off? One of the main reasons for actually restarting the league is financial, because the Premier League warned that if they didn't manage to complete the season, it could cost them well over £1 billion. So a really heavy cost for so many of the clubs. And at the heart of it is fulfilling those television contracts. And even if they do resume and complete the season, they're still looking like having to repay in rebates hundreds of millions of pounds potentially because of the disruption to the season and the changes to the product that's being delivered. But then you've got the health gamble as well. And there are players concerned that the resumption of contact games poses not only themselves at risk, but also when they return to their families as well, because of the potential that COVID-19 is still spreading within communities. And there was a reminder of this just this week. Stoke City were due to play a friendly game at Manchester United to warm up for the resumption of the season. And when they got there were these tests that took place, and they discovered the Stoke manager, Mike O'Neill, did have COVID-19. So the game was called off and they all went back to Stoke. But it just reminded us that although society in England is starting to open up again and sporting events are being allowed, the coronavirus is still in society and spreading. So there is that need to stay alert to try to prevent football being something that spreads the virus. And there will always be that overriding concern as the games resume. And what we have heard from the Premier League is that a team would have to fulfill a fixture even if they had only 15 players. So just 4 substitutes, because they are preparing for the contingency if there are cases within teams when the league resumes.
What is the projected commercial loss from the non-activity? How much more is it costing the organization to return?
Okay, so of course, when it comes to the financial aspect, it's very important to be able to be back. We've been able, fortunately, well, we are back tomorrow. Let's see if everything goes well. The work didn't finish yet. I mean, we need to keep on working very hard to make sure that we are able to finish the season by the 19th of July, the 11 match days remaining. If that's the case, which we hope so and which we believe so, that will mean that, of course, when it comes to television, at least we will have been able to finish the season, which is very important. But as you know, we won't probably be having fans for now, for sure. Who knows in the last match dates? But for now, we won't be having. So that's also not a commercial, but an income impact. So if we are not able to open the stadiums for the fans in the whole season, that would mean that we might be talking about maybe around 300 million euro losses, or less income than expected, not losses. But it's a very good and very important that we were able to finish this, if we are able to finish the season, because at least when it comes to television, when it comes to our partnership with other kind of partners, we at least we can finish the season in that sense.
What's the talk among your teammates? What are you talking about ahead of that, if I should say, big kickoff next month?
Oh, it's been all football now, because when we used to train from home, online workout, it was more of like, hey, talking about the other stuff that is going on. But right now that we've started training, it's more of what we can do to improve as individuals and as a team. So it's all football now, and it feels really good to be back.
And I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Emmanuel Ajuman-Bedu. Are you mentally prepared to get back on the field?
Oh yeah, individually I am, and I can see from the team as well. Everyone is ready, because if you're not mentally ready, I don't believe you'll be physically ready to go. And we've seen the same type of energy we had during the start of the season. So I believe everyone is ready mentally to go again.
And Rob, will we ever get around to knowing what exactly works for football without looking over our shoulders in this era?
Yeah, I mean, it's so much uncertainty over what football will actually even feel like in the stadiums and beyond. I was speaking to the Bayern Munich player Joshua Kimmich last week, who was saying that the lack of intensity of emotion in the stadium really affected how he played the game. You had to do more to actually get yourself built up for the actual occasion itself. On the flip side, he said it actually made him less intense and emotional towards referees, so they got off easier. The question is, when will fans come back into stadiums? We are seeing some optimistic signs across Europe. Hungary had some fans in at its cup final last week, and maybe, just maybe, they'll start to work out how fans in the major leagues can come back into the stadium while maintaining some form of social distancing. As for what people see around the world, they could see very different products, because some of the games are likely to have the option of artificial crowd noise being inserted over the footage. In conjunction with EA Sports, the FIFA game maker, they've dug up some crowd noise. So some broadcasters around the world will use that. So it might feel quite familiar then in terms of the sound. It will look very different because the stadiums are very empty, although clubs like Brighton are putting cardboard cutouts of fans in place. They're able to pay £20, send their picture in, and they'll still appear on the upper tier like that. But I think, as Tim was saying, the big concern is actually lower down beyond the Premier League in terms of the survival of the clubs, because we do have 4 professional divisions in England, and without games for many of them for some months, it's very hard for them to find the money to pay the players, to pay their staff. And if they do resume behind closed doors, there's also still no money coming from the fans.
Right, so thank you very much, Rob, there. You're still watching the big comeback here on TV3. We'll return shortly. Please stay with us. You're welcome back to the big comeback here as we look ahead to the football leagues that are returning. Still with me via Zoom is Tim Vickery, who is an expert when it comes to South American football. I have Rob Harris, AP's Global Sports Lead, and also Emmanuel Ajman, who needs no introduction. Ajman, so your club president, Mauricio Setti, 2 months back, likened this whole pandemic to Italy being at war. And it's definitely reflected in the team's mood during the extension. How is the feeling amongst your teammates?
Right now, the feeling is very great. Everybody wanted to come back to do what he liked best. The start of the trainings, we were a bit afraid. I must tell you the gospel truth, because of how the COVID is and what we have been seeing on television. Fortunately for us, everybody is doing well. So for now, we are good to go. Everyone is feeling very fresh.
And Guillermo, give us an idea of the health and also safety protocols in place as the league returns. And also, can you speak briefly on the innovative, maybe mediums that you are making available for the fans to be able to watch the matches?
Yes, so of course, since the first moment from La Liga, we understand that this is way beyond football. This was a health crisis that affected us globally, but Spain has been one of the most affected countries with around 230,000 cases. So the important thing here was to work with the government. Everything we've been doing in the last months has been working on a daily basis with the government because they are the ones that have the most important information for us to take the right decisions. When it comes to the safety protocol, we first started with the players training individually, then with smaller groups, then groups of 10, then with the whole team, which is what is happening now. For the stadiums, all the players have passed the test. Everyone entering the stadiums will have passed the test, not only the players, but the coaches, the referees, all the staffs, even the journalists that will be able to make it to the stadiums, to be able to tell what's going on in those stadiums, what's happening in La Liga to the global fans. All the people inside the stadiums will have passed the test. We want to make sure that we are back in a safe and in a responsible way. And you were saying when it comes to innovations, there's different innovations from the audiovisual part, from the cameras, from the kind of recreating like the atmosphere of the games, like if we had public on the stadiums we won't have, and everybody knows that. We don't pretend we have, but we want to recreate that game atmosphere. So there will be innovations in the sound side, in the audiovisual side, and we hope all the fans will feel like if they were watching the game at the stadiums.
One thing that is also coming up in the MLS, we are hearing it may come with a World Cup style tournament format. Should it happen, would you embrace it as a player?
Oh yeah, I'm used to that format because I've played in a couple of tournaments that have the same rules and all that. So I think I need to be one of the voices that kind of like educate the guys on how to approach the game, how to get your body and your mind ready for the next one, because it's going to happen fast. 4 days, and that's what I've been doing for the past decade now in previous tournaments that I've played in with the national team. So I believe we're going to be fine.
And Tim, I want to come to you on some of the potential drawbacks that may temper the return of football across the region.
We've heard how the players are being tested in Italy and the precautions that are being taken in Italy at one of the Serie A clubs. Now, the rich clubs in South America can afford to do this, but the poorer clubs, the ones who really need money fast, they don't have the structure to keep testing their players and to keep protecting their players. And this, for me, is the real worry, not only in South America, but generally, that lower down the pyramid. Rob has talked about the problems potentially for the Premier League, but the Premier League clubs, they can lose money because in the future, they have the capacity to generate income. It's the smaller clubs that don't have that capacity. Firstly, they're more dependent on the money that the supporters pay to come into the stadiums. They need that money. So they lose that, they've already lost something. Secondly, do they have the structure to protect their players and therefore protect all the families of the players? This is my worry. I think the top clubs can protect themselves. The bottom level clubs, the poorer clubs, there's a real crisis coming.
And will La Liga, or will the La Liga ever be the same post COVID-19?
I hope so. I mean, I definitely think so. Maybe not this season. Of course, this is a weird situation for all of us. But first of all, I think tomorrow is the first step. And I think it's, as I said, it's a win, not only of La Liga, but of international football and of us all as a society. And I'm sure little by little, we will get back to normalcy, and La Liga will be what it was, what it used to be, and not only La Liga, but international football.
Tim, will the future ever make up for the losses that we've seen in the past few months? I know that football clearly took a back seat, which is rightly so.
Yeah, the problem is, can the small clubs survive? The bigger clubs can make it up in the long run. When the bigger clubs from the massive leagues in Europe, their market is global. They're selling their product globally. They can take a hit. They can make it up. The smaller clubs can't. And that's the big worry for the future of football.
Can I push you a bit, Guillermo? Is it going to be Barcelona's title or Real Madrid?
We will see. It's extremely tight. It's only 2-point difference between the two of them. We had recently El Clásico before the lockdown. Real Madrid won that game. They went ahead on the table. The game after, they lost against Betis. So now Barcelona is ahead. And now we have the lockdown. It's 11 match days to go. There's a huge fight, for the championship, but also for the European positions, for the relegation zone. Everything is super tight, and it's still 11 match days to go, but only in 1.5 months. So we'll be having football actually every single day from tomorrow to the 19th of July. Every single day we'll be having La Liga games. So it's going to be super exciting, and let's see what happens.
And Ajwan, you're talking to your teammate. You had a bit of worry when you started training, but now, most importantly, football is coming back. And I'm sure that what is the discussion among you and the players? Are you hoping to give it your best shot?
Yeah, before the league started, we have a meeting with ourselves that it's a new club from Serie B to Serie A, and we know how the Italian Serie A history is. Every team who comes from the Serie B, the three teams, every year, one or two of that club goes down. So we had that we need to do our best and save and be saved early as possible, because we have a very tough games ahead of us, and because of how the season has gone. So we're just trying to do our best right now so that we will be fit for the games. Just would do our best to get 40 points to be saved in the league. And if after we can do some miracle and go to Europa or whatever, then that is a plus for us. But right now, we are concentrating on the games to be saved in the league. That is the main ambition of we the footballers. And so everybody needs to work very hard. We know the weather is very hot as well.
Yeah.
And mostly we play some of the games around like 7 and 9 in the night. So it will be a bit okay. So our ambition is just to save in the league, and everybody is points for that right now.
And Jonathan, I'm giving you the last words here on the big comeback. And it's the same question I asked Costello. That is, will the MLS be the same for you as a player? I know from the management side, you might not be in the know of that, and also the technical side. But will the MLS be the same when it comes back?
Obviously, there won't be fans. There won't be, there's going to be a lot of restrictions, and we know that it's going to happen because of the situation globally. And we need to keep the discipline of what we've been asked by the medical staff, and I think it's going to be fine. But at the same time, it's not going to be the same. But we will do our best and enjoy the game as much as we can.
Jonathan, thank you very much, and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time here on the big comeback. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. It was an absolute delight. And to Ajman and also Jonathan, we wish you the well as you return to the field soon. Tim and Rob, always an honor to do this with you guys. And many thanks to Guillermo Perez Castello, the La Liga delegate to Ghana and Nigeria. And to you who made time to watch, thank you. Let's do this again sometime. Remember to stay safe and continue to spread love. My name is Juliet Bilwa. Good night.
Messi to the corner. Absolutely brilliant.